The Echoes of Midnight. The moon hung heavy in the sky, a silver lantern casting its eerie glow over the abandoned park where two young boys once played. Their laughter had once echoed through the trees, mingling with the rustling of leaves and the distant hum of the city beyond. Now, silence wrapped around the empty swings and broken seesaw, save for the occasional whisper of the wind carrying stories of the past. Ethan and Daniel had been inseparable since childhood. They had spent countless afternoons chasing each other through the grassy fields, dreaming up grand adventures and promising that nothing would ever come between them. But fate had other plans. One fateful evening, Ethan had entered a local writing competition, crafting a story woven with mystery, romance, and inspiration. He had poured his heart into every word, never expecting to win. Yet, when the results were announced, he stood victorious, the grand prize, a scholarship to an elite literary academy, clutched in his trembling hands. Excitement filled him, but so did uncertainty. How could he celebrate without Daniel, his closest friend? Daniel had always been the dreamer, the one with an unshakable belief in the power of stories. He had often spoken of creating a novel together, one that would blend fantasy and reality so seamlessly that the reader would lose themselves in its pages. But Daniel had a secret, one he had never shared with Ethan. A darkness lurked in his past, a specter that haunted his every step. His family, fractured and broken, had left him yearning for stability, for a bond that would not shatter like the fragile glass of his mother's favorite vase. Ethan was that bond. When Ethan arrived at Daniel's doorstep that evening, eager to share his triumph, he was met with an unexpected sight. The house stood in shambles, the door slightly ajar, revealing the flickering candlelight within. The shadows danced ominously on the walls as Ethan stepped inside, calling out for his friend. Silence greeted him, heavy and foreboding. His heart pounded as he ventured deeper, his breath hitching when he spotted a crumpled note on the table. "Meet me at the park. Midnight." The words, scribbled in haste, sent a shiver down his spine. He recognized Daniel's handwriting, the familiar loops and curves that had once filled the margins of their school notebooks with grand ideas and half-written poetry. Without hesitation, Ethan turned on his heel and sprinted toward the park, the chill of the night clinging to his skin. As he arrived, his breath came in ragged gasps. The park, once a place of joy, now felt like the setting of a horror tale. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness, the moon casting elongated shadows that twisted like unseen hands reaching for him. Then he saw him, Daniel, standing beneath the old oak tree, his silhouette rigid against the dim glow. "Daniel," Ethan called, relief washing over him. But as he approached, something felt off. Daniel's eyes, once filled with warmth, now held a distant sorrow. "You won," Daniel murmured, a ghost of a smile on his lips. "You did it." "Yes, and I want to share this with you. We can." Daniel shook his head. "Ethan, there's something I never told you." A sense of unease settled in Ethan's chest. "What is it?" Daniel hesitated before exhaling shakily. "I was never meant to stay." Ethan frowned, confusion knitting his brows. "What do you mean?" Daniel's gaze drifted to the sky. "I've always known my time here was short. I've been sick for a long time, Ethan. The doctors," he swallowed. "They said it was only a matter of time." The words struck Ethan like a thunderbolt. "No," he whispered. "No, that's not true. We have so much left to do. The novel, the academy." Daniel reached out, gripping Ethan's shoulders. "Listen to me. You have a gift. You have to go, take this opportunity, and write our story. Make sure our adventures live on." Tears burned Ethan's eyes as he shook his head vehemently. "Not without you." Daniel smiled, a bittersweet, haunting smile. "I'll always be with you." A gust of wind howled through the trees, And when Ethan blinked, Daniel was gone. The days that followed were a blur. No one had seen Daniel since that night. His home was empty, as if he had never existed. Yet, Ethan refused to believe he was gone. He wrote feverishly, pouring every memory, every emotion into the pages of his manuscript. He wrote about their adventures, their dreams, the laughter that once filled the park. And when his novel was finally published, titled The Echoes of Midnight, the world came to know Daniel through the words that danced across the pages. Years later, as Ethan stood at the book's launch event, he felt a presence beside him, a familiar warmth, an unseen hand resting on his shoulder. And in that moment, he knew Daniel had never truly left. Their story would live on, echoing through time, whispering to those who dared to believe in friendship, in love, in the unbreakable bond that not even fate could sever.
Whispering Echoes.